What's up?
Hey, Andy, we gotta bring
Yeah,
our
I
friend
shade.
in.
Yeah,
Oh my God, Andy, I just saw you. Oh my gosh.
yeah. My wife killed me. She's like, "Why do you do this to me?" I'm like, "Cause I'm sorry. It itches. It's hot, and I wanted 5 o'clock. I am like, hey, at least I gave you the 5 o'clock shadow. But anyway, it's not about me. It's about
No.
Valerie Lorraine. How are you, Valerie?
I'm doing great. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Oh my
Thank
God,
you for
tell
being here. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Oh my goodness. So how you been? How's your week been?
It's been great. I've been very busy working, and yesterday I took the day off and took the kids up to the lake. So that was a beautiful afternoon. Meant that I spent a lot of time playing catch up today, but we got there.
I gotta be honest,
Awesome,
Valerie.
awesome.
I gotta be honest, Valerie. I can't imagine a woman such as yourself ever taking a moment for relaxing for yourself, even just to hang out with your kids. But seriously, I mean, you are just such an incredible powerhouse to this community. I know Annie and I, we had this date circled so many times on our calendar. We are so excited to highlight everything you do.
Thank
Like I said, you do
you.
it all. I mean, let's get right to
Yeah.
it. Let's start naming all the crazy things that you do, you know?
Yes, and last night you went live with Raj Sharma. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but great
I
live on
did.
YouTube. Amazing. You're doing big things, Valerie, and I think that's what makes it even more beautiful because you're branching out in all forms of life, not just one particular form of life. And I think, and I really believe that's what I love about what you do because you give it to every walk of life. And so I wanted to ask, just to start it off, like how did this come about as far as like what made you decide, hey, let's do YouTube and let's do this platform on YouTube? Talk to us about that to start things off.
So that's a good question. So I was approached over a year ago to do a show on that channel, and it was a poetry show. And so I did that for quite a while, and I made a decision. I really good relationship with the producer, and I had spoke to him a lot, and I said, I said, I appreciate the show. I appreciate a lot about it. I said, but it's really not what I want to do.
Mm.
And I said, I think I'm going to have to step away from it. And so, we had a lot of conversations, and he said, well, if you want to do anything else, like, let's talk, which is the name of the channel, the YouTube channel. So anyways, so he and I talked for quite a while, and I said to him, I said, I really want to do an interview show because on Instagram, there's a lot of open mics. I host an open mic. I absolutely love hosting the open mic, but it is, I hate to say a push it through, but it is. Like, you can't spend a lot of time with one person because you have a queue and you have to respect everybody who's in the queue. So you got to keep it moving. You just got to keep on, moving the queue and moving the show through. And I said, I'd really rather spend the time with people and really sit down and talk to them and laugh with them too, because laughter is a big part of my life. It's gotten me through a lot. So, so I came up with the show concept, and he was like, let's do it. So we started doing it, and my idea was always to branch outside of our poetry community. But the poetry community is so important and so special to me. I will always keep coming back to our poets and highlighting them in that show. But yes, we have had a great response from the broader community, some people that we don't necessarily expect to hear from. And so yesterday was comedian Raj. He's on IG as comedian Raj. Wonderful gentleman, very kind soul, very entertaining. And we had a great interview. So it'll be up in my stories tomorrow to catch the replay.
Wow. It's like the key thing you said. Like even though you love the open mics, like you said before, I want to spend time with the person I'm interacting with. It's like you said, it's true, because even when I used to do the open mics before we transitioned, and combined the Origin of Thoughts open mic and the Unravels open mic, that's one thing I've learned too throughout, even when I used to do the open mics before Unravel did the rebranding. It's all about respecting the time of the people, and respecting the, just the whole respect thing, right? Because it's true. You want to, you can't be there for a long time. So I think that's what's important, what you're saying about the intimacy behind that, which is why, even with me, that's why I decided to create the interview segments for Unraveled Influence and do the open mics and all this other stuff, because it's true, yeah, like we see all these poets, but I want to get to know you more. And I really believe there's the intimacy behind all that. And I think that's amazing that you do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Andy, not to cut you off. Oh, actually, not just coming at the perfect moment. I want to echo, because not just that, you really are one of the staples when I feel like when it comes to building the community. Both Andy and I, we both have the privilege of being co-hosts on that Star-Filled Saturday that I definitely want to talk about, like the whole fun that you have, because it's a party on Saturday and it's just so much fun. And I love your concept of having new people every week. And if you haven't, I mean, I'm sure everybody in this chat room has been to Starfield Saturdays, but if you haven't, it's incredible. And you really are at the forefront of building your community. And you really do not just, say it, you really live that. And as somebody who's trying to build the bridge, as Andy and I like to say, we thank you so much for being a part of this. But I don't want to go another moment without actually hearing some of your work, because you do such an incredible job highlighting others, allowing people to have a safe space to speak. And like you said, you like to laugh. So you're also somebody who is very joyful and checks in with people, and just such a great person to be around. We got to highlight your work. So I know you got plenty of incredible poems and writings for us. I do know that you have, I believe, 3 pieces that people can get, 3 books that are out as well.
I do.
I want to go through that. I want to go through the journeys of those.
Okay.
Like, we are all about you. Like, we can, woo, yeah, community. No, this is all about Valerie.
All right.
Valerie Lorraine, poetic author. We got to talk about her work, and I got to shut up so I can hear your work. But I also want to hear about this whole love poetry thing, because I know you say that you're a love poet, and I want to get into what that means to you.
Okay. I consider myself a love poetess. I like to speak about being in love, falling in love, even heartbreak, right? That is a part of love. Even, familiar love, so family love. It's important to me. I am really all about love, giving love, being love, and self-love too, right? So I love speaking about, and I also love speaking about in my poetry the universe that I love, right? So very much in love with water, the sunsets, the sunrises, the stars, and so I incorporate that a lot into my poetry. To me, that's the magic of life.
Wow.
So yeah, that's why I call myself a love poetess.
That's beautiful. That really is. And he said, as you're talking about the stars, I also thought about, so is that why you call this Starfield Saturdays?
I do. I mean, to me, it was to me, I couldn't have gotten a better name for the show, because to me, there's so much talent in this community. So they are the stars.
Amen.
They are the stars of the show. So that happened. And then, my love of the stars, just, it became a double entendre, right? There's nothing better than going out every single night and seeing if I can see the stars. So, here we go. That's, it's my star-filled Saturdays. I got the talent, and hopefully I can look out at night and see the stars myself.
Oh my God.
Valerie, if you listen very closely late at night, you might be hearing me saying up to the stars, because I am with you 1,000%. Every night I'm out there looking up in that sky, because it's just, it draws you in. So
it does.
of your words. I want your words now.
Oh,
Again, I'm just like
okay.
enthralled. I know everybody's here to hear all about you and your work.
Okay. This is out of my book, Falling. This is one of my very first books, and it's quite it's quite a large book. A good collection of my early poetry, and it was very special to me to get it out. So this is called Messages to Ace. I miss you. Sorry, this is where the book opened, and I was surprised, so it took me a little off guard. Again, this is called Messages to Ace. I miss you. As I would miss the stars if I never saw them shine again. As I would miss the ocean if I could not stand on the shores and listen to the crashing of the waves. As I would miss the sun gloriously bathing me with its shine. As I would miss breathing. Every breath takes me back to you. How close we were. How I lost you. How I couldn't stop anything that happened. And it was my fault. I'll never forgive myself for it. All the time lost with you. All the joy snatched from me. I have peace in my heart, except when it comes to you. I will never stop praying for the universe to return you to me. I will never stop feeling the loneliness of not having you. Your soul is precious. Your eyes spoke to me where no words were possible between us. I pray that you are in safe arms, holding you as I do, and loved as much as anyone could love you. Because I know that no one could ever love you as I do. Know this. I will never stop loving you. On my last breath on this earth, I will carry my love for you back to the stars with me. And I will wait on the crest of the moon and drop pieces of my love like falling stars in the sky for you to see, each one a memory of time spent with you. When you see them fall for you, remember me. Valerie.
Oh my God. Why? Oh, yeah. Again, my heart's like going like this right now because I felt every word you just said. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, we got to take a moment because this is, oh, wow.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to put out the little tag of your thing that the internet went down on my computer while I was doing that. But again, your words are so impactful. They just, and first of all, the way you
Yeah.
read your words and the way you read other people's work as well. Like, let's not even go there. But holy moly, you just have a gift with the way you just speak those words and the imagery, the softness, the care of the words. Oh,
Thank you.
Again,
Yeah.
Andy, that's why
I didn't want to keep my eye off you. I was just looking at, like, I feel like you were talking to me. Like, I was like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. Like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. You got to talk to us about this piece because there's so many directions that this could be taken right now, especially the loss of someone you really love, someone you really care about. And it's just, I gotta know. Like, oh my God.
So, I will preface this with this. I usually don't express what my poetry meant to me when I wrote it because I believe that once we give it to somebody else, it's what they mean to them. And if, let's say, before I will talk about it, but let's say that if I then said, like, it was about my grandma. Now, no matter what you took from it or what you needed from it, now you're stuck with the fact that I just said it's about my grandma, you know, and you're like, oh, I thought it was about blah, 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 right?
Got you.
So I hesitate about that part because I never want to take away what somebody else could totally need from that piece. However, this is what we're here for, so.
Yeah.
Ace was my dog. and he was a service dog to me. So he was exceptionally close with me, very important to me, and he was an incredible soul, and so he was stolen from me, and that part was a killer. And yeah, so that part.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
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 So first of all,
Wow.
sometimes a loss that goes in an instant, you know.
But you're talking
Sorry
about
guys,
something
but
like
like
that.
yeah, but
That's different because that's different to me. Like to me, that's like like if it's a person, I mean it's still just as meaningful, but it's something about a
no,
companion like that, a pet. Like my wife, when my wife used to have a cat, and unfortunately my son, as he's 4 now, but he was getting all these hives, he was getting all these allergic reaction, and I pretty much had to pay $200 to get animal control to pretty much get rid of the cat. Like I had no choice. And I've never seen my wife cry and get emotional the way she did that day. And it was one of those things like I never want to do something like that on purpose. But I had to think about my son too. I mean, I know it's not the same thing as like your situation with the dog, but like just that sentimentalness, there's that closeness you have with that you don't really have with a person sometimes. There's something different about that. And like to hear that it was stolen from you, like that breaks my heart, Valerie. I'm like trembling even thinking about it because I think about that and it's like, oh, like you get what I'm saying? It's crazy because you treat that's like there's something about that, there's something about that bond, you
Uh,
know?
there is something about that one.
yeah,
There really is. But
but
yeah,
even
that's where
so,
the book opens, so that's what we read.
but I love that. It was almost like that is what we wanted to hear from you tonight as we, whoop, you know, take a grand slam home run to kick off the hour with our
Yeah.
incredible poetess, a love poetess, and love in all aspects of the
Yes.
word love, Valerie Lorraine underscore poetic author. And you said that was from your first book, and it's a whole collection of your earlier works.
It is.
Andy always asks this, and I love this question. Where did you start off your poetry journey? Where did this early work come from? And then can you talk about that leading up to, I'm going to put this collection of work together. I want to hear all about it.
Stole my words.
I know,
I
Andy.
did. So I in 2017, but really 2018, I went through several life-changing events, and I was a mess. Like I was sincerely a mess. I did not know which way to turn, and I started writing, and I hadn't written for a long time. So I had started writing, and I didn't really share it with a lot of people. It was rather personal to me, because because. So,
Well, Valerie, it sounds like you were utilizing that opportunity to heal and get things out that were probably suffocating you a little bit, clouding your judgment, clouding your mind. I mean, a lot of people know exactly that time of your life. We all have those, but everybody's is different. I mean, I know I'm going through some stuff too, but yeah, I can see, yeah, of course it's going to be a therapeutic moment for you, and you want to keep it. It's for you. It's your healing. So continue, of course.
Exactly. And so, and then I fell in love with somebody deeply, and it wasn't a healthy relationship. But because my mind was already cluttered with everything I was going through, and there was a lot of other things going on in that relationship, and I couldn't see clearly. And so my poetry became very, very important to me. And at that point, when I wrote, I would write and read it back and say, oh, that's how I'm feeling. That's how upset I was. Whereas now when I write, I'm like, you want to know how I'm feeling? I'm going to sit down and write. I'm going to tell you how I'm feeling, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. But so back then, that's what that was. And then, I was encouraged. There was a seed planted that, you know, you should put this all together. You should do something with it. And so I did. I did. One day I just kind of like, all right, today's the day. So that started it. That was my first book. And then I put out a year later, I put out My Life Untitled. And I know she's in the room, and I need her to know whether she's in the room or not. I always say this. This cover was beautifully done by Just Our Misdemeanor, my very good friend.
She's definitely in the room. Yeah, she's here.
She is.
She's an artist. She's an artist.
She does art, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, in it.
And then last year I put out this book, actually, like right on the heels. It was so funny because I put out my second book and I barely advertised it. I barely said anything because I was still very, very much getting this book out. And this is in the Company of Poets, and it's a poetic anthology. There's 12 people, including myself, and they're all from IG that I met on IG. So there's Cleopatra Fernhill, Michael Light, Brad Hall, Debbie Razy, who is why can't I think of her Instagram name? This Violet Moon Poetry. Right, LG. LG. Alexa Hoggett, Drew's Got the Galaxy. Todd Worrell, who is Mid-Age Poetry. Thoughts by Steve. Jolene Thibodeau, and Jan the Rhapsodist. So we're all in this book.
Hold that back up, please. Hold that back up. Again, this is her third collection. But
that's beautiful.
This is in the Company of Poets, and this was such a pleasure to put out. I enjoyed doing it so much. Each poet in this book has a substantial amount of work. They have at least 10 poems, not pages, but poems. And and their bio and their picture. And I absolutely love putting this book together. So I will just say it is not my last go at doing anthologies. So I have some in the work already again. Been working on them for some months, and they will be out soon enough. And then I have another collection of my poetry that I will be putting out. However, this time, this is going to be about my healing journey. And in my healing journey, this is going to be more like some stanzas that I will equate to journal entries, although I don't journal. Expressions of, like, you know, maybe, how can I express it? When reality hits, you know, and some dialect about how I was gobsmacked with some reality that helped me through my healing, and then taking that into, here's some poetry that really supports what I just found out, or what has been settling upon my soul as I walk through that healing journey.
Wow.
So I'm excited about that book, but I have no time frame on that because I've been so busy that coming back to that book is always just a little you know, when I get there.
Absolutely. Like, again, if you are just joining us, we are honoring this incredible poetess, the love poetess, the star-filled every day of the week, Valerie Lorraine, poetic author. And of course, we know that she's busy. She does all these incredible things. She has 3 books out that we just talked about. But again, what I wanted to kind of rewind back a little bit. Like you said, you first went to poetry as a way to just kind of like get your thoughts together, let your thoughts out, so to speak, Andy. Get it?
Right.
And, you know, what maybe surprised you after people started to get into your reading your writing? And because I noticed that you said earlier, I don't necessarily want to give you my source material because I don't want to take away your own interpretation, which I love. I get that so much. But people probably definitely responded to your work because your work is so incredibly moving, emotional. We're going to hear some more in just a moment because I'm already like foaming at the mouth here, eager for more, right? But I'm sure people have reached out to you in response to some of that. Like, were you taken away or taken back by the responses you may have received from reading some of your work?
Absolutely. Especially when I first started sharing it, I was starting to share it sporadically with a few people, and sometimes people I didn't know that well as well, because I really wanted as much as an authentic response, just to kind of see. And it was funny because I always was getting a lot of the same responses, was like, did you write that about me? Or did you write that? Like, because they were, which I interpreted for what it was that it was relatable.
Yeah.
And so, and then some people would say like, oh, you really need to share this because it's going to help people. And some of my work, I didn't necessarily see that it was going to help people, but we don't always see those things, right? And I think that it is so important for us to just sit in the belief that, this is the way that things happen, right? Is that we can change somebody, or we can give them information in a way of entertainment that they need. And it could be entertainment, it could be healing, it could be relatable. There's so many things that we don't know. And I encourage people all the time, like, it's just like when we meet somebody, not everybody is our cup of tea. We're not everybody's cup of tea. And that should be okay.
Absolutely.
The same thing is going to happen with our work. It's not meant for everybody. But the people who it is meant for, that's our audience, and they will gravitate to us. If the universe or whatever divine force that you believe in knows that that is meant for that person, they will get it.
Yeah.
And you may not even know about it. You might not even know about it, but they will get it. So, you just need to sit back in your belief that if you know that you feel purpose and you feel great joy in what you do, sit back and relax, because it's all good.
Amen.
I'm so excited that you mentioned exactly why I kind of was curious if people, I was pretty convinced that people would be very responsive to your work, but that people pick up, again, what they're feeling inside through your experience, even though they're completely different. And exactly, like you said, sometimes you need to hear something or see something. And you, like you said earlier, you are such a lover of comedy and just, bringing the light up, bringing the light out, because, we've all experienced dark. I know that sounds like you've had some pretty dark times that, again, you've written through an artistic way, which, again, that brings us together. I think, Andy, do you have any comments?
Yeah, no, so I'm just trying to embrace everything you guys are talking about, because every time I come up with a question, you guys always have like another question within the question, and then you always have like an answer. I was just like, okay, the words are out of my mouth. But earlier, you had mentioned about laughter and how it got you through some times. And I know you had talked about realities and stuff like that. Would you say that those two goes hand in hand with each other in your life in the past and in present today? And can you describe, like, like when you say laughter, like, can you describe more about that to me? Because I'm very curious to know what that means to you.
So laughter in my life is very, very important. I grew up with very comical and jovial family members, and sometimes if you're in the room, you were laughing a lot, but you sat quietly because you did not want to be the focus of that. But it was all good, right? And there was all love in that too, right? But that's how I raised my children and my family, and so I like to carry that on. There is so much strife in life. There is so much going on, that, you know, we need releases. We need releases of times when it is entertainment. We need poetry. We need comedians. We need even just like, I like to watch dramas on TV. I will not allow drama in my life, but I love watching drama on TV because I can shut that shit off.
Love trash TV.
Yeah, but so all of this becomes really important to make sure that, you know, you have the laughter, and laughter is healing. Laughter is extremely healing, right? And there's some beauty in being able to even be in a dark place and still being able to have some humor and know that everything's gonna be okay, you know, and tomorrow's always gonna come.
Wow. Wow. No, that's powerful. That's definitely powerful. It's beautiful because it's so true. Like I learned the hard way that laughter is, you know, there's that saying, laughter is the best medicine, but I really do believe in that because growing up for me wasn't always like an easy process considering dealing with, you know, situations that weren't like, it wasn't allowed to be talked about at that time where I can talk about it now. And it's just, to have a peace of mind knowing, especially within this community, I've been in this community since 2018, and I met some people along the way that if there's one thing we have in common is we all have a story to tell, right? And that's what inspired me to create Unraveled Influence in the first place. And one thing I love is the fact that you guys are not afraid to talk about your brokenness and how we can all, it can somehow bring us together and we can have that conversation and realize for me, it's more like, you know what, damn, I'm not alone, right? Because I didn't talk about my schizotypal personality disorder until 2020. And before that, everyone was talking about it. And my thing was, I grew up with, oh no, I'm ashamed to talk about that because they'll laugh at me kind of thing. And the more I saw you, everybody here, talk about it, the more comfortable I felt. And I even asked my wife about it too. I said, babe, do you think I should like talk about it? What do you think? And she's like, well, that's part of your story. Because, you know, for those who don't know, I'm a born again Christian by category, I guess you can say. And I do believe in God and stuff like that. And something my wife said, well, that's part of your story. Because if you take that from your story, then you're not gonna know you're not gonna be your true authentic self that God has called you to be. You're taken away, and it's like you don't know who needs to hear that. And that same way, what you just said, you know, people like we don't think about it until, like you said, you didn't think about it until you released that first book and the impact that you had in people reading your work. And now, with that being said, it leads into my next question. So after we all pass on, we all, you know, we're chilling now, and you know, we're not on this earth anymore. What do you hope to leave behind once you're gone, if that makes sense? Like, what are you looking to leave behind? What impact, and why is that important to you?
I hope that I leave a legacy of love through my family and those who knew me. I hope that I leave people with hope. I hope I leave them with a strong desire to always reach for tomorrow, no matter what happens today. And that, you know, the one thing that I learned in my journey thus far is that I went through some very, very terrible things that almost broke me. And I had to get through those things so that I could become the person that I am today. And I'm very proud of the person that I am today. So in order for me to say, oh, I wish I could skip that, I would not be honoring the fact that those things are part of how I wound up being who I am today. So I live in gratitude. A lot of times people, they might see my signature when I sign things is they say, with gratitude, Valerie Lorraine. And I do live in gratitude. And that was a journey. That was a real hard journey to walk through. So, you know, I hope that people understand not everything is easy, but if you can find your lessons and your purpose, and if you can find your um, your ways to find gratitude, right? It's not worthless. It didn't happen for any airy-fairy reason. It happened on purpose. So use it on purpose and be driven and make sure that whatever lessons that you hurt, that hurt you and that forced you into this position, that you don't repeat, right? Like, the universe has been here so much longer than I have. It is not my job to do anything other than what it guided me to do. And I can only be here in the capacity that the universe wants me to be here. So when I see that somebody's going through something, I'm going to be here for them until the point when the universe tells me to step aside. And when I hear that, I have to step aside, right? I have to step aside, because whether it's karma that's coming to play, or whether it is their lesson that they have to learn, whatever that looks like, I am not near as wise as this vast place that we live. So, you know, that is something that I came to learn, right? It's not my business to get hyper involved. It's my business to show that there's love and support and kindness, right?
I know you just said that you're not as wise as the universe, and I'm not here to try and argue that point. I don't think anybody necessarily is, but I want to echo something that you just said a few times, that you mentioned that you have gone through a journey. And on the outside, you know, a lot of us are coming new to the community or have been in the community, but we're stuck in pockets, so we're still finding each other. On the outside, to somebody who is new to you, like for me being new to you, you look like you have it all together. You're the hostess with the mostest. You're here, there, everywhere, and you're a star and you shine, and we love you. Like, again, so many people in the chat are just loving up on you, like talking about how many times you've connected with people, helped people, hearts and souls all the way through. But again, I think that's why you do this and why we do this and what's so important, because there are people going through horrible things, and we can get to the other side.
We can.
And we feel, and it's not necessarily reading about the other side that gets us. It's reading about being at the bottom or below the bottom, or falling where you feel like you're never even going to reach the bottom because it's infinite. So go ahead. I know you've got something to say. Go ahead.
I do. You know what I want to say is that, you know, some of the hardest things that we go through, and it feels like the world has stopped. How can everybody be out there still living when this has happened? I feel like my world has caved, but the reality is that it is our job to heal through these things. And the person that you come out on the other side, as you say, looks really put together, like looks like they got their shit right. Everybody goes through stuff, right? The dynamics of what that is could be like real low or very high on the scale of how bad was it. And that's not for us to judge, right? It's not for us to judge. Like, what are they complaining about? It's not that. But what I really feel like in this community is that we all have offered our vulnerability. And I think that, so we're poets. So that gives us an instant connection. But then we know how much it takes to put our vulnerability out there. So not only are we connected, but our spiritual roots underground have connected even more, because we honor the fact that somebody put something out there that was not easy for them, and it gets easier, right? So I was challenged by somebody who I respect quite a bit. So I have a backstory, right? And so I have been in a relationship that ended in domestic abuse. So I was challenged to write about that. Now, when I started to write about it, it messed me up for an entire week, and I hadn't even touched pen to paper. I was a mess. Then I actually wrote it, and I was a mess. And then, because as soon as I wrote it, I was having this panic attack that, like,
absolutely,
what am I gonna, like, what are people gonna think of me? Like, you know, all these things, and I can go into that after, but I tried to temper it with myself to say, like, just because I wrote it doesn't mean I have to put it out there. But I was in this panic place because in my heart of hearts, I knew that I was going to do it. I wrote it. I knew that it wasn't just mine. So I needed to put it out there. And that was scary. And
yes,
and now I'm fairly comfortable in the fact with speaking about that. And I do talk to people behind the scenes in my DMs who feel like they have questions about grooming or being manipulated or like all of these kinds of things. And again, it's not mine to get hyper involved in, but I'm absolutely going to make sure that you are safe. You know where you can get information from, you know, all of these things, right? But just because I'm an advocate doesn't mean that I'm going to rush out and save anybody, right? Like that's not my role.
Not an expert. Advocate is not necessarily.
I'm not an expert.
And you are
I'm not a counselor.
Your own experience and what you went through,
right?
And there are similarities, but I hear you, and I think that's important. And you are allowed to have your space, and I think that's what that's okay to too. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I
no. You helped me out with that thought because that's exactly it, right? Especially, and I don't I don't choose to be an expert in that, but I do choose to be a support.
And you are an expert in yourself, in your own life, and I want to echo your words because what you actually just said there was I don't mean to make this seem not as serious as what I'm going to say. That was brave with what you just said. Because again, as a female, as an educated female, as a you know, because again, I want to talk about your writing, but when it comes to things like domestic abuse or even emotional abuse or psychological abuse with a partner, I mean, you can feel so stupid. Like, how did that happen to me? And I know better, and it's not, and it's all different. So again, I want to honor what you just said there. And that took a lot to put it out there. And as a female who's coming to terms with her own situation, I thank you so much for that. And I don't want to get emotional now. But I just thank you so much for being there. I know.
No, keep it together. Keep it together. You'll be all right. But you know what the thing is that I think that the social stigmas around emotional abuse are not where they need to be, because emotional abuse can be far worse than physical abuse, because it's longer lasting. It feels like there's and you can't prove it. There's no legal recourse. It's just ridiculous. But the other thing is that there's a social stigma that is still relevant, where people say, you know, if you've ever heard this, as soon as they say it, people are going to say, oh yeah, I did hear that before, right? What'd she do to deserve that? And let me be very, very clear.
Or how did you stay in that? How could you even be in a situation like that? How could you let it get to that point?
Yeah, right.
And even, and of course, I don't know what happened in your situation, but there are many women who are stuck for many reasons. And again, they have children involved, or they don't, or there's financial restraints, or there's not. There's so many ins and outs. But again, what you said is so important, because when you hear domestic abuse, you think of a stereotypical image in your mind,
right? And the thing is that that's one where society needs to change their wording, their thought process. And the second thing is that women and men, because this isn't just a woman thing, but they have to not hide it. I'm not telling you to do something you're not comfortable with, but I am saying that you are, I'll change it, not you are. You have the ability to change a stereotype that is wrong. You also have the ability to out somebody, and I'm not suggesting that you out somebody, but a societal person, let's put it that way, who will not have as easy of time doing it. Because when you're
Yes.
silent, the next person, if they choose not to listen and believe their thing, that's on them. But if they don't know, then they don't have the foresight and they don't have the option, right? So, you know, and there
And you don't
are,
have to protect your abuser because, again, you're in a situation sometimes where you feel like I don't want to say anything negative because I don't want other people to look at them in a bad way because this is such a one. But again, it's
not about
Ooh.
you.
that's what happens with your own mind.
Yeah, and
It's
no, but it is.
especially. Yeah.
You are so right. But the thing is that, and you know, take your time and come to it and understand. Right, it is not about you or what you did. This is about the other person and how they can or cannot deal with losing control, losing their ability, their upbringing, their and when I say cultural, I'm talking about family culture, right? The tribal family, how they perceive something to be or the way it should be, old school thoughts that traveled down through their families, and they haven't shaken that ability. It's not your fault.
No.
It's not your fault. So, but I do have a piece about it. So this is not in any of my books as far as I go by memory. This is called The Shadow Chronicles, Lucifer. And Words Adrifting is a beautiful member of our community, and she put some prompts out during Domestic Violence Month, and LG and myself, along with Todd, held a live that was specifically for this, and we picked out some of the prompts, offered it to the community, and we read the pieces on the show, and it was a very emotional show. And I read this piece that I had written. I wish I wouldn't have waited till the end of the show, because by the time that I had read everybody else's and I got to read mine, that's where I got very emotional. But live and learn. Anyways, The Shadow Chronicles, Lucifer. My shadow said run. And for a moment, I was going to, but instead I whispered, no, stay with me. I didn't know the burden to come, nor the stolen innocence. I should have left when my shadow did. My heart was then taken over by a demonic terrorist, with the force of Lucifer bursting with rage into a church, graciously admiring the parishioners in the pews for their sins. Exposing my love to you was something I should have never done. My humanity was your playground. You burnt open your wings in raising glory, leaving me in awe. Your charm devoured me, tainting my intuition. And when I exposed you, you rushed at me, taking my breath away. Your wings held tight at my throat. Finally, you were flushed out. Lucifer impersonating a demon impersonating my lover. My lover impersonating love. My love just was. Truth is better than lies and will always be better than your interpretation, your impersonation, your failed attempt. It's there I glimpsed your imperfections. I saw you, Judas. For a strung out moment, I saw your tormented, ugly eyes. My physical bravado stood against you, not believing you would. My shadow knew better, fearing fate. My shadow. Only with me because the light made it stay. Wiser than I will ever now always follow my shadow. If he won't go, nor will I. Before your aileron fists fell upon my delicate innocence, you spat, I am doing this to hurt you. Indubitably, yes, you did. Week 1 black, week 2 blue. Week 3, purple. Week 4, Pediche. Week 105, trauma still vibrating within, tender in the depths beyond vision. It was the gray matter that didn't want to let go until it made sense of the senselessly broken mess. It was the red pumping flow that didn't know how to put the vestibule doors back on the frame or sweep up the stained glass. And how could either, when there are no answers? There are no explanations. There is no justice. I have no absolution. But I have my shadow, and if he won't go, nor will I. Valerie Lorraine.
I gotta kind of process this, so I'm speechless right now.
Week
Oh,
1, black.
yeah,
Week 2,
that
week 3,
that,
purple. Week
and
4.
week,
Oh my gosh,
yo, and
week
then week
105.
100, like, yo, that is, I think that's what really hit me the most was week 1, week 2, week 3. I've mentioned this a
My
few times
humanity.
in the past lives. Oh yeah, and escape. Yeah, my humanity was your playground. Yeah, that is deep too. Oh my God.
My gray matter was the one.
Yeah.
Again, your mind is.
Um, when it
So
comes to like abuse and stuff, like I take that very seriously. So that's why it's kind of hitting me the way it is, especially with unfortunately, I had a friend of mine that long story short, I've mentioned this before too, that I had a falling out with, and we were gonna reconcile our differences, but I never got the chance to, unfortunately, because she was involved in a marriage with domestic violence, and unfortunately, she's not with us anymore. But so just hearing that brought me back to that. So if I get very, it's because like you know what it is? It's not what you said, but the description of what she was probably going through that I'm just never gonna understand. And it's just like, I, man, there's so many ways, so many things I can go with right now. But again, like it's. I think yeah. I think this calls for like a eventually do a live or something. But
again,
with
yeah,
the
Andy, that's
I'm
okay, okay?
sorry.
Because
Yeah, I'm sorry.
do
Just
you need a second? Because I want to say this because I got to imagine that night when you were going through everybody's pieces in the subject, that had to be just a raw, rip, open opportunity for healing. But again, sometimes healing goes through pain. And we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, or I think it might have been last week with somebody else. Sometimes you have to cut open a wound that's not healing correctly in order for it to heal correctly. And the power in that. And earlier, if you guys are just joining us, Valerie Lorraine let us know that she doesn't necessarily like to give us the origin to her words because she does not want to cloud anybody reading there or having an opportunity to create some bias, perhaps, because everybody's interpreting their own words. But Andy, I know you want to stay on this topic, but I do want to say a side note to you because even though you've talked about earlier, again, if you are just joining us, Valerie Lorraine talked about how poetry actually came to her as an opportunity through healing and growth, going through a difficult time. And it wasn't necessarily how some of our origin stories where we're, high school love poets, but you really took an opportunity to find who you are emotionally and became the strong, fierce, incredible source of power, light, comedy, and love in all sense of the words through going through this.
Absolutely.
But let me just say this because I kind of got off because I was just skating with
no,
my words there for a moment.
it's fine.
But if you don't know this, you're not just a free verse necessarily. Like you really are a true academic because I do know this because you actually have helped people edit their own materials. Not just, of course, we talk about 3 books we had. For our darling Valerie has 3 of her own, 2 of her own original pieces, and then 1 which is a collection of real stars of the IG community. I mean, for real. But I know you also edit, and you really have an academic command of the language. It's not just the emotional piece. You really have a command of this.
So I do editing and layout. So I lay people's books out. I help them, guide them through the self-publishing opportunity. I do a lot of work with them, right? And a lot of times, people come to me and they're like, I got my manuscript. I'm like, that's great. That's the easiest part, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to walk you through everything else you need cover to cover, because there's so much more involved, right? And it's overwhelming. So I do that. There's some more to it than that. I do a lot. I do a lot when it comes to that. And I don't charge a lot, because the reality is that there's not too often that a book is going to blow up and be a sensation, and that you are going to be exclusively making money hand over foot on this. And so it's all a build, right? And so and I have,
Valerie, you can't be breaking my heart. Come on, I haven't published yet, because it's just gonna blow up. No, I'm kidding. Go, Valerie. Go.
And nobody said that it wouldn't. Nobody said that it wouldn't, but it's a build. It's a build. Like you have to, if you're self-published, you have to put as much into it as you can. And there are parts of everything that, like, if we're asking to be at all, if you're thinking about a publishing house, they have departments for all of this, people who are specialists in this. We admittedly are not specialists in everything, and there's something that we're always not like the best at. And so basically, if you're not willing to take on that marketing step and market yourself and talk about what you do and be really in people's faces by going into lives and being like, hey, I have books, this is where you can find them. If you're not willing to do that, then you're not going to even start to budge the gas meter there. So there's a lot to put into self-publishing, and it is it's very important that my clients, when they come to me, they know the drill, right? Like, I don't promise them sunshines and roses. I express to them, I ask them questions, and it's not meant to it's not meant to bring them down. It's a reality check, right? Because I can do everything for you, and if I'm just nodding my head and you're like, I'm going to sell 100,000 in the first year, and I'm just nodding my head, I'm doing a disservice. And that is not that's not who I am. And so anyways,
I think that's important, because as a teacher by trade, we forget that feedback is actually love and help, because we want you to be better. And if you're sitting there doing the same thing over and over again, are you progressing? Because practice doesn't make perfect. Practicing perfect makes perfect. If you're practicing the same thing wrong. But again, that's so important. Again, you are such a huge foundation is community support. Again, there's so much love for you in the chat. Not that you need to know that, but maybe you do need to hear it. I always love hearing it, that we love you.
Thank
because
you.
We absolutely love you so much. And again, you're not just an emotional way with words. That is an academic piece, and it's a huge piece. And the at-home poet, there is great stuff there, but you also can utilize what experts who have done things in the past, or people who know things, and actually use that. Because again, we get emotional because this is my baby, but we want your baby to be great. And there's nothing wrong with feedback.
Nope, there's nothing wrong with it. When it comes to poetry, I don't change anybody's poems.
Right.
That's their artistic view of their book and their work, and I'm not changing that. I focus on punctuation, the correct word, as in like there, and spelling and layout, but I'm not going to mess with their poetry. So that part is different when you're working. I know some editors who do, but that's not what I believe in. And there's nothing wrong with those who do. If that's what you need and what you want, right? Then that is an opportunity with me, but there's others who do that, maybe even better. But when it comes to novels, that's a different That is a much different, as a much different dynamic. So now you are starting to get into the craft of how is your story playing out, and have you finished what you need to finish with your characters? Like how come they were in a cafe and then in the next one they're in somebody's, like, you know, you missed something here, or this plot line that it doesn't quite pan out, like it doesn't really make sense, or it doesn't quite finish off. So those are, it's a much different editing level, and it's not just looking at how the words play out in punctuation, although that is a large part of it as well. So I enjoy doing it, and it is, I think what I enjoy the most out of it is that I think that anybody who has the want to be published, I think that they deserve that legacy, and that it's not as hard as you think it is. So it's just, there are steps that cannot be missed, and that sometimes for some people, especially the first time out, it could be extremely unnerving and overwhelming. So that becomes what I'm here for.
So it sounds like if people were interested in getting a hold of you for that, how would they do that? Just connect with you through here?
They can connect with me through my DMs, and I have a couple clients. Like, I only work with one client at one time frame, but I know how long it roughly takes me per client, especially after I've seen their manuscript. So, you know, the wait's not too long, but I give that as a gift to people, because I'm not going to be rolling through like, oh, today's not your day, it's this person's day. I'm giving you all of me, you know, and when I hand it back to you to say, this is where we're at, you've got some choices, like, you know, or this is, I'm finished, now you look it over, and do you want any changes, right? So, you know, I've learned how to build that all in, and basically, it's your book. So it's got to be exactly what you want, and until it's right, that's what we do.
Wow.
Like I said, Andy, this woman does it all.
I'm on cloud nine right now. Like, I'm on cloud nine.
Incredible shows. She's an editor, and she is a huge pillar support in the community. I know we were so freaking blessed and lucky to have her.
Everybody's talking about the hair win for some reason.
I know. I saw it earlier. I wish I had
my hair is always an issue on shows.
I lost.
On every show.
I lost all my hair.
It's a lot of pressure. I can't come anywhere with just like, no, my hair not done.
You gotta show up. I show up for you, Valerie.
That's awesome.
Speaking of which, Valerie, there was one question. I know we were actually a little bit over time already, but there was a question Annie and I were actually talking about behind the scenes, because you not just host on Instagram, IG Live, but you also do hosting some shows on YouTube. What's the difference? How does that
Thank
work?
you.
Like, what do you love about the differences? Because, oh my gosh, again, if you didn't check it out, there was an incredible interview that she had yesterday that's going to be coming up on her stories. Check that link out. I know a lot of hot, like, again, you have so many incredible interviews all the time. So, like, shut up. Shut up.
Thanks.
We hear from you.
But I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I guess to add on to what she was saying, I just wanted to say that I guess what is the difference between YouTube and Instagram as far as going live, the dynamic, the audience, and just the overall presentation of what you do on Instagram and what you do on YouTube. So you know what I'm saying. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. Well, with YouTube, I'm blessed to have a producer, because he does all of the behind the scenes work, and we work immensely well together, which I appreciate, which is why, you know, it makes it easy to do. But it's not easy. You know, with Instagram, we go live, and even if it's something where we're doing an interview show or curating pieces, there's a little bit of work to that. But for me, the YouTube show, it takes me a lot of work, like all through the week. And I think people will be surprised how much time that hour-and-a-half show actually does take me. For starters, I my questions are designed uniquely for that guest. So I either have to find out more about them or what I want to know about them, which takes me some research. The other thing is I'm going out and finding these guests. And for those of you in the community, you can, those are easier finds. I'm working outside of our community and trying to break through, getting into the DMs of these people who we all enjoy their channels, and that's not easy in itself. So I'm always blessed when people are willing to speak to me. I'm booked right now all the way through to September, so I'm super excited about that, and I'm still working more at that, but that is a challenge. But I do love, as we spoke about earlier, I love the ability for me to just, by the time that I get to showtime, I just get to sit down and relax and have a really enjoyable conversation and getting to know somebody. And through the serious part and then moving into the shenanigans with them and trying to have some laughs, which I can say that part is sometimes nerve-wracking for me, because especially if I don't know somebody, it's hard to laugh with somebody that you don't know. So, you know, and that sounds funny, but it is true, right?
Yeah.
So, but I still enjoy it. And even if that shenanigans part falls flat, it's still okay, because I'm getting some laughs out of the fact that, you know, some of these goofy questions that I ask and see how people, and sometimes people are so serious in their responses. To me, that's funny, right? Because like, it's a goofy question. Like, I asked somebody one time, I'm like, would you rather have broccoli for arms or a head of lettuce for a head? And they really had to think about that. And that was funny to me, because it's like, it's funny. Nobody's actually making you do this.
Oh my God.
It's not a true life choice.
Broccoli for arms, Andy. Broccoli for arms.
That should be a prompt.
Right. But yeah, so I enjoy it for that. And IG, I enjoy a few things about it. I enjoy the simplicity of bringing it all together. I enjoy the fact that we are highlighting the talent in our community and keeping it homegrown. And I completely enjoy the fact that in my show, the premise in my show is really about community. And it's always about building and welcoming more people into our community, because you just, like I always say at every show, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to meet. It may be somebody who becomes a friend. It may be somebody who inspires you. It may be somebody who pushes you to do more. Maybe even without even never saying a word, or maybe with saying a lot of words, right? In kindness, I hope. But you know, we don't know. We don't know.
This is true.
Right?
And I know we're already kind of bleeding over our hour, but I want to hear one more piece from you. But I want to say what I love about your show while you're pulling that last piece together, because we definitely need to have a part 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I just want to say,
I love how your show, the chat too, the chat gets going. Because that reminds me back in the day with Andy, we always talk about the highlight was really 2019. That's when I first kind of came on here, where there was more lives and people were engaging with each other more in the live. You really have nailed it, where people are engaging in the
still
chat
to this
so
day.
much. I love it. Again, nobody is so engaging until, like, again, you really do a great job with that.
Thank you. I really, really, really try and encourage that. I think that it's important for people to understand that, you know, we're here as much to enjoy poetry as we are to chat it up and have fun and grow our community. And that is more than just hitting the follow button. You know, it's getting to know people and chat it up. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, if you are going out with a group of people to a club and watching a comedian or an entertainer, you're going to lean across the table and you're going to have a conversation, right? Hopefully you're not interrupting the show, but like, you know, this is your opportunity to do that. Enjoy yourself. Like, this shouldn't, it's not class. We're not in a library, right? Like, have at it, have some fun, enjoy yourself, and that part is very, very important to me.
Agreed, agreed. And it's like you said before, you know, you never know who you're gonna meet again. It's funny because that's really much what happened with me and Angela. Honestly, before this year, I didn't even know who she was until I saw this one post. I'm like, wait, did I follow you from before? I just don't know. You know, sometimes we just follow people and you're like, okay, I don't remember how I follow this
Yeah.
person. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much what happened because this, oh God, so this particular page itself has been through a lot of changes, put it that way. And
Right.
long story short, she had a post about no more shitty years. That's literally how this whole thing started.
Right.
And then it started from, okay, when I decided, okay, I'm gonna start doing my podcast again and rebranded. And then we had pretty much the first episode was with her, and then just that one episode turned into like this thing that we're doing now. And it's just like before this year, I didn't even know who she was. And it's like, again, you never know who you're gonna meet, and yet we have like there's an understanding of the vision of what I always wanted Unraveled Influence to be, and pretty much what you're doing right now too, like just expanding and it's just crazy. Again, you never know who you're gonna meet, and then here we are having this conversation. And it's just
Yeah.
it's just a powerful thing, you know. And then I was there, like I said, like having interaction with you, Valerie, itself too. Again, this is an honor and a privilege, and I don't take that for granted. When you invited me and Angela to do Star Pro Saturdays with you, you know, I stuff like whenever I get invited to anything, I always take that stuff seriously because that's not something that's just given out for free. That's why Andrew had said that on when we went live by Andrew. That's not something that's given away for free like that. And that's not someone anyone can just do, you know. And like I said, I know for a fact you don't just bring just anybody. No, like you do it with caution, you do it with respect to the art, and you do it because you love it. And again, that's an honor and a privilege, and that's a responsibility that I take very seriously. And I just want to say thank you for that and what you do for the community, because you do a lot for the community. And it's like goes back to the whole legacy and impact. No matter what happens, like they're always going to remember you for that, and that's such an amazing thing. So thank you for this, thank you for saying yes to us, and thank you for having this conversation with us, because that is very, very important.
Oh, thank you so much. And I love how you tied back to the legacy, because I chose this piece to read. It's not in any of my books. It's not in any of my books. It's actually not even published yet on Instagram or anything. It has been read on another show.
Here first.
But this is about my legacy. So this is called If I Die Young. If I die young, keep me alive within you. Take the best of me and know that's all I wanted to be. If I die young, still love and remember me. I wanted to do so much more. Remember me in love, nature, and humor as I shared these things of me with you. Memorialize my words and carry them in your heart. If I die young, bury me within you and know that I care deeply. Feel my presence with you daily. I wanted to be here with you in person for so much longer, as long as you needed me, even if you weren't aware of that need while I was here. If I die young, it's because I had to go. And I hope you know I wasn't taken before my time. I was taken when God seen it was best. If I die young, I hope I had the impact in your life that I wanted to. That I shared the love I had for you openly, and with enough reason that you understood you are my favorite season. I can only hope you saw what I saw in you. If I die young, I hope you know I will always still be there for you, loving you from a different place. If I die young, I am going to make sure that today, this very day, you know how much you meant to me. We just don't know how much time we have. There is so much we don't know. But before I do go, I just wanted to make sure, before it's too late, that you know how much I do love you. Valerie Lorraine.
Wow. Oh, can't put a price on that one. You can't. Wow.
Thank you.
Andy, I don't even think I can comment now. Because again, you just
Yeah,
blow me
no,
away with your
I'm
words.
just,
You really do.
yeah,
It's so, again, effervescent. Though there is a lightness to your words that again hit heavy because they just like it pulls out of you. Like it's not a punch in. It's like a pull out. I don't even want to say it's a punch. It's just like
yeah,
an explosion that comes like out of somebody's body. And just the way you write, it's so effervescent, life, but
yeah. You ever
very
thought about doing like an
beautiful.
audible?
Yeah, yes, actually. So I have a sound producer, and it's been much slower than I had wanted it to be. But we're working together. Part of my business, Valerie Loom Productions, is also going into sound production. So so yeah, I get to be the test of all of that for stuff, and my studio is almost done. I keep on saying it's almost done, but it's almost done. It's just not done.
You know what, Valerie? You are a shooting star. Like you're
Yeah,
still like you're not like
literally.
you're on
Yeah,
the precipice. You have not even reached the apex. I mean, you feel like I said, like from the outside, it's just so incredible. But holy shit, girl, you're still going places, some real places that are just beyond all expectation. I mean, you already have 3 books out, 2 of your own accord, and one of this incredible compilation of so many incredible poets. You are an editor. You help people put their legacies together. You're about to get this whole sound system going. Plus, you have so many incredible shows that you host. You're such a great person in this community. I know we went over a little bit of our time, but I couldn't, I can't even say enough. I am so honored to have you tonight. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
giving us your
much.
time, honoring us with your time. Because again,
yeah.
it does it all. I can't believe you took a day off yesterday.
You know what? I can't thank you enough for having me because it's a beautiful joy to share the time with the community and to be able to read my own work because I oftentimes when I'm on shows I don't really read my own work. I try not to. So there are times when I'm really moved to because of something somebody else read. But to me it's about the community and I'm even behind on posting my own stuff to my own page. So and I'm trying to hold off to do like the sound production pieces. So things are coming, things are changing. They're not as fast as I'd like, but that's the way life is. But I'm just so happy that you guys asked me to come on the show and that we could arrange this. And it was a beautiful time with you. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Well, we look forward to seeing you highlighting, starring up Saturdays. And again, also thank you so much for helping us build that first virtual bridge on our end to you because we are kind of co-hosting with Rainier, who is incredible. Oh my God, who doesn't love Rainier? I mean, I cannot wait. We're getting out. He's either coming to the U.S., we're going to Australia, we're going to have a poetry convention, we're going to drive across the country. We're going to Canada, see you and all the other Canadians that we saw last week. But again, having those opportunities to hang out together, Origin of Thought, Unraveled Influence, that's what it's all about. And that's because of the work you're doing, how you've stand strong. So many people cannot just stop loving on you tonight. We wanted to love on you. We wanted to have your words honored tonight because, yes, I think you are so giving that you got to get some of your own too because we deserve to hear your words. So thank you. All right, Andy, any last words for Valerie?
No, I just wanted to, like I said, I just want to say thank you again just for just being a part of my life, especially you, because like without you, I don't know if you realize this, but you've actually impacted my life a lot the last couple of months. And it's just been it's been a blessing, honestly. I don't even know what else to say, but just to say thank you. And like she was saying too, with the Origin of Thought, Unraveled Influence, the open mic, and everything, just like us getting together in one big party. It's just like it's really because of you. Because again, like thank you for saying yes to that, and just just us building community, building bridges. And like I was telling you and I was telling Angela, we built our first bridge, and now here we are, like continually building, expanding the bridge, and it's just
Yeah, exactly.
it's a
Well, and
beautiful
I
thing.
will say I was open to it, but again, it's when I have the whole other channel, Origin of Thought, for anybody who doesn't know, and I bring my hosts on, and you know, I give them a lot of reign to do their own artistic endeavor, and so I was very clear with Rainier, like, this is your show. So, you have everything to say yes or no. This isn't something you want to do. This is something you want to do, and it's up to you. And that goes for all my other hosts, right? Like I tell them, if you want to bring somebody on as a co-host or whatever that looks like, you really don't have to check with me, because, if we have issues, right, those people aren't on the page, and we don't. We have very, very, very few issues in the community. So, and, I'm happy to be able to offer that to our hosts on Origin of Thought. And, and I check in with them, just like I checked in with Rainier and said, everything's good, because I'm going to remind you, this is your show, right? So, but it's a beautiful merge, and it's a wonderful way to expand the community and grow. And on Starfield Saturdays last week, we had Arsenio and Alvi JC, and
Yeah,
that
that
was
live
just
was
fantastic.
crazy. I saw a little bit of it. I saw a little bit of it on Saturday. That was wow.
Yeah,
That was wow.
yeah. We'll be doing
Oh my God.
that again. We'll be doing. I think what I offered was that maybe we could do, because they were saying like we should do this again. And I said, well, maybe we'll do it at Christmas time. Nice Christmas present to the community.
Yeah.
So but that's the way it is, right? Like, none of our shows are in competition with each other.
Hey, man.
And that's why we wanted to hang out with here, because we didn't want two smaller clubs.
Yeah.
We want a big old scene together.
Right.
And again, he's
Exactly.
and he knocks it out for the first, and then he gets to tag me back in for the late night crew, because I'll stay up all late night, and poor Andy, he's got to work on a Saturday, but sorry, Rainier, we're going to be on way past Cloud9 tomorrow, because we're still on Cloud9 tonight talking to you, but we're going to be interviewing Divine the Fall at 9 before we go to the open mic.
Yeah.
And then we'll definitely be checking you out on Starfield Saturdays. And not to name drop too, but we got Arsenio Deep Thought.
Yes, I know.
Next Friday.
I know.
Yes.
And I can't wait to talk to him. I know you helped him with his book.
I did.
I know he credits you as an editor. So again, it's just that it grows. And what happens with wonderful community members like yourself is you really do inspire people that inspire people that inspire people.
Yeah.
So your legacy is locked in and fully loaded.
Amen to that.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. We're kind of kicking off the Andy Morales birthday party weekend.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I turned
fellow Cancer.
Thank you. Oh my God. Yeah, I turned 38 2 years before 40. So yeah, it's interesting. I always thank God for another year. So thank you.
Absolutely.
So thank you so. Oh,
thank you.
Snap.
Thank you, everybody, for the wonderful comments. I've been trying to follow along with them. You're just all so generous, and I love you dearly. Thank you.
Well,
thank you so much, everybody.
We'll definitely see you on Saturday. Check out everything she does. She does it all. She does everything. She's got her own book.
You're not following her. Shame on you. Follow her now.
But get her stuff too, because that's definitely on my list of ASAP. Because I'm looking forward to your third full book of your own, but your fourth book of this healing journey. I know I need this. I'm looking forward to it. And there's so many doors opening for you. And what I love, again, you keep those doors open for the rest of us. So thank you. Otherwise, I'll keep talking. So I'm going to turn the light off. I love y'all.